Quick word. Parshas Toldos, Perek Chof Hei, Pasuk Chof Aleph, chapter 25, verse 21. The Torah tells us that Yitzchak and Rivka were davening, and the Torah says, "Vayeta Yitzchak LaHashem lanochach ishto ki akarahi." Yitzchak davened opposite his wife because she was barren, and then God responded to him, and she became pregnant. So, a person who takes a look at the structure of this pasuk, you've got to wonder the following question. It says that Yitzchak davened to Hashem because his wife was barren. Now, most people, if you were writing the story, if I was writing the story, I would say, you know what, once upon a time there was a woman named Rivka. She was barren, and therefore her husband Yitzchak davened for her. Yet the structure of the Torah seems to be once upon a time there's a man named Yitzchak who davened because his wife Rivka was barren. And structurally, it doesn't really make sense. The main part of the story, obviously, is that she was barren, and therefore that should be emphasized first. And only afterwards it should tell us what they did. The way they went about dealing with the barrenness is that they started to daven. So, that being the case, the commentaries point out the Torah is revealing to us really what the essence of davening, what the essence of prayer is. If you took a survey, most people would tell you prayer is to get stuff. The reason you daven, you're in a jam, you need something from God, so you say to God, "Hey God, can you please do me a favor? I need something." That's probably the attitude of most people in the world. Everybody in the world davens. Anybody playing Monopoly, if you ever watch people playing Monopoly, if they need to afford to land on free parking to get the jackpot, you watch these people, they'll always take the dice, they'll roll it, they'll say something like, "Please." Now, you stop and ask yourself, who are they talking to? Who are you talking to when you say please? If you're talking to the dice, you got much bigger problems than landing on free parking. And therefore, obviously, you're not talking to the dice. Who are you talking to? Obviously, a person is calling out in a desperate situation. Hopefully, the most desperate situation anybody should ever experience is needing to afford to land on free parking in Monopoly. But the standard human response to a tricky, challenging situation is to call out. The purpose of prayer is not to get stuff. To the contrary, the reason that God sometimes withholds things is to get a Jew to daven. That means, since God is the ultimate good, the closer you get to the ultimate good, the better it is for you. A person can actually get to the level where God wants to draw him near, and therefore may withhold something from him. That's why the Talmud says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mis'ave l'tfilos shel tzadikim. God desires the prayer of the righteous. The Talmud says, why is it that the patriarchs and matriarchs were childless? In order to get them to daven for that which they wanted most. They got to the level where God said, you know what? You deserve to be drawn near. I'll give you an example. Everybody has heard of the Navy SEALs. Just imagine the Navy SEALs, they go through training. I don't know precisely what the training is, but let's imagine the following. Imagine the first week, they're submerged in ice water for 9 hours a day. So by the middle of the first week, let's imagine you started with a group of 500 tough Marines who are trying to become Navy SEALs. By the middle of the first week, probably 250 of the men drop out of the program. So those 250 men now go into a room. They're given a nice steak and French fries and a nice warm bed to sleep in. And the 250 men who made it through the ice water week now go on to the next week, which is sleep deprivation week, where they get to sleep about a half hour a night for the entire week. By the third night, another 150 guys drop out of the program. Taken into a room, given a steak and French fries, nice warm bed. The last 100 guys go to the last week. And that last week is being dangled upside down by one leg for 11 hours a day. By the middle of the week, 70 more guys drop out of the program. They can't take it. They're given steak, fries, a nice warm bed. 30 guys make it through, and they're given the royal title of Navy SEALs. Now imagine somebody looking on, sees what's going on, and say, hey, this doesn't make any sense. These guys dropped out of the program, they get steak. These guys stayed in the program, so they get to get dangled upside down or sleep deprivation. Makes absolutely no sense. The answer is, depends what the good is. If you're trying to get to the goal, and the goal is to become a Navy SEAL, if you've made it through the first week, then you get the privilege to go through the challenge of going through the second week, then the challenge of going through the third week. If a person has gotten to a high enough level, God says, you know what? I choose you. I'm going to draw you even nearer because you're on such a high spiritual level, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to get closer to me. You know how? I'm going to withhold something that you want, and you'll have to daven, you'll have to pray. And if you daven and pray, you'll get closer to God. And therefore, the Torah says, Yitzchak davened. Why did he daven? Because his wife was barren. The theme of the story, the main theme is not her barrenness. The main theme is that Yitzchak davened. Why did he daven? As an afterthought, because Rivka was barren. And if it wouldn't have been sure barrenness, perhaps it would have been poverty, illness, something else. Therefore, a person understands that sometimes things are withheld because we're on a high spiritual level and God wants to draw us near. The trick is, if we would daven when things are going well, then God wouldn't have to withhold anything. We could draw near to God by crying our eyes out in thanks and gratitude to God. Then we wouldn't need anything withheld. That's the idea of the parsha. The idea of the parsha is that tefillah is the means of getting close to God.